I've been wondering, Si.
Wondering what, mate?
I've been wondering whether I got the most out of myself with my training as a pro. Like, was there stuff that I could have worked more on or stuff that I could have worked less on? I mean, could I have got more out of myself full stop? Did I work too hard? Or did I not work enough?
I think, Dan, it's probably a bit late for that now, if I'm completely honest.
It's never too late to get your training right. I give you 5 myth-busting questions.
It's Professor Louis Passfield. He's a genie. That's...
Matt, do I really have to wear this beard?
You can swap it for the lab coat.
Deal.
Right, what an opportunity. If you don't mind, Si, I'm going to take the first question.
All right, mate.
Because this is something I always wanted to know the answer to. Is it true that we, as endurance road cyclists, wouldn't get any benefit from strength training in the gym?
Good one. Well, it looks like you've been working out a little bit.
No. We used to think for a long time that strength training wouldn't be of benefit because you don't need to be very strong to be a cyclist. So for example, the hour record, to produce the forces required to sustain that, you just need to be strong enough to lift yourself out of a chair. Most bike riders can do that. So that's why we didn't think strength training was useful for a long time. But now we're seeing that it's got other benefits. And in particular, what we're finding is that you can recruit more muscles, which is always helpful when you're riding a bike. And perhaps it comes in handy towards the end of a long bike ride too. So we're seeing a wide range of riders now, both road riders and especially track riders, and not just the sprinters, but also the team pursuiters and that kind of thing, doing leg squats, leg presses, that kind of thing. The key thing is that they tend to do reasonably light weights and fast movements, not big heavy weight lifting. So it's not about how much you can do, but it's about moving quickly in the gym.
Okay, Louis, my turn next. Is it true that cyclists have to use training zones to get the best out of themselves? Is that really the best way to train?
Okay, you're really testing me this time. It's not a straightforward answer. You can use training zones and they really help, but equally, they're not essential to effective training either. So where they really come in useful is in communication. If we talk about a zone 2, zone 3 training session, we all tend to understand what's implied by that, and that really helps. But there's nothing special about the underlying physiology there. What we're trying to do is get fitter, and it's not the training zones themselves that guarantee that. It's the work that you do. And training zones help us describe that much more effectively than using, for example, complicated underlying physiology. So for example, my research at the University of Kent is about trying to optimize training. And the way that I hope we'll be able to achieve that in the future is we'll change our GPS devices, our power meters, so that rather than record our training, they actually tell us what to do next. So we'll be out training with a device, maybe sunglasses that have a heads-up display on them, that show us what our next target session should look like. And we won't be using zones then, we'll simply be right into the target that the computer has calculated for us.
Oh, I'm loving this. Yeah. Really interesting stuff. Okay, I've got another one. This time I would like to know, do you need to do as many hours to maintain fitness as you did when you were trying to gain fitness? And on top of that, how quickly do you lose fitness when you completely stop training?
Nice double-barreled question there, Dan. Sneaky. He's not going to notice that at all.
You're being rather sneaky there, aren't you? Because that's 2 questions, but I'll treat it as one. So the short answer is that it's much harder to gain fitness than it is to keep it. And the research on that is reasonably clear-cut. The second part is about losing fitness, so I'll tackle these separately. To gain fitness, you really have to work quite hard and you have to build your training over a period of time, increase the load progressively. To keep hold of fitness requires an awful lot less training, and that's why the high-intensity interval training has become really popular. So for people that aren't very fit or are just looking to keep hold of what they've got, really short, hard workouts can be a very effective way of holding on to what you already have. So even just a few minutes a day, done at a high quality, high intensity, can help you really hold on to what you have. But if you're really well trained, you're probably not going to gain much fitness that way. So in that way, we can see, yeah, it's much harder to build it than it is to get it in the first place. In terms of detraining once you stop, I think we're always worried that we're going to lose fitness a lot faster than we actually do. We know we've worked really hard over a long period of time to build that fitness, and then we're worried that if we stop, it's just going to disappear in a flash. Of course, it doesn't quite make sense, does it? Because if it's hard to gain, it's going to be hard to lose too. Classic detraining studies work over a couple of months, and that's the kind of time course where you see substantial changes in fitness. And then typically that fitness that's lost over a couple of months might be 10, 20, 30%. That will come back over a similar period of time, if not a bit quicker because you're restoring fitness back to where it was. So a week off, 2 weeks off really shouldn't be something to worry about too much unless you're going into a major competition and you're worried about losing that really fine edge. You're probably not going to lose a huge amount of fitness at all.
Okay, I got a burning question, right? Have I been pedalling correctly? Like, should I have worked on my technique more? Should I have pulled up as I was pushing down? Should I have been ankling? Should I have been pedaling in circles?
So can you just get on with the actual question? It's going to be dark in a minute.
Okay, all right, sorry mate. Professor Passfield, should I practice pedaling technique?
No, you'll get quite a lot of practice anyway. And certainly I think it's a good idea to keep a low gear and learn to spin the pedals so that you're quite comfortable pedaling at 90 to 100 reps per minute. But actually deliberately trying to pull up on the pedals, the research is quite clear on this actually. The best cyclists don't have more efficient pedaling strokes. In fact, they're the opposite. They tend to push down more and they don't really pull up a lot. The easiest way of thinking about it is, if you're pulling up, then you're doing work on the pedals, but it's not a particularly effective way of putting work into the bike because you're fighting against gravity. Much better to work with gravity and push down on the pedals. And as I said, with the best cyclists, what we see is they generate more forces in that downward stroke. They don't pull up as well. So just keep practicing using low gears. That will give you all the technique work you need. Okay lads, you've got one more question because my car pet parking expires soon.
It's a bit weird.
Oh, well let's get one more question. Oh, got it, I've got it. Power.
Ooh, what about it?
Well, is it really the be all and end all? Should everybody be training with a power meter to get the best out of themselves?
Good one.
Ah, that's better. Yes, but we're a long way from being able to tell people how to do that at the moment. So for example, at the University of Calgary, we've just done a study where we've monitored the training of riders over a period of time, and we've regularly brought them into the lab to test their fitness as well. So what we're trying to do is to link the training they've done to the changes in fitness in order to work out what's the most effective training. But we don't have the answers yet. And actually, if I'm honest, I don't think we'll ever fully have the answers because the picture is so complicated. So although power would be a great tool, and I think in the future what we'll see is people increasingly using computers to analyze their training data and inform the training that they do, it will never give us everything. Training's far too complicated for that. We've got differences in people's genetic potential, differences in your nutrition, your health, sleep, all sorts of factors we can't possibly control. So you'd never be able to build an algorithm, for example, that would tell you exactly what power to ride at on a given day. But I think it can help. So for sure, if you can train to power and you can start the process of learning about your body and what training works for you personally, then by all means do that. But if you're without that measurement, then I really don't think it's a big issue either because we don't have the full answers and we probably never will.
Well, thank you very much, Louis. That has been thoroughly enlightening for all of us, I think.
Absolutely. Hopefully you have found these training myths being busted as useful as we have. It is funny, isn't it, when you think about the kind of history in cycling and all these sort of training methods that we've been told as fact for years and years and years, and actually when you shed a bit of scientific light on them, that maybe they don't hold up to be the truths that we thought they were.
And things are continually developing, aren't they, from a training perspective? A little bit like the bikes that we're using, really. Wasn't that long ago where we thought that riding 19mm tyres at 130 psi was the fastest because it felt fast. You were bouncing all over the place. But actually, it was more like being in a go-kart, low to the ground. 40 miles an hour feels like 80.
That's it. So it's going to be interesting, isn't it, as we find out more and more, I'm sure, about certain training techniques and certain training sessions that actually perhaps aren't as effective as we thought they were, even if they really, really hurt.
Yeah, and I'm going to be fascinated to see how things develop from the training point of view, whether or not they are like the development of bikes, in that we as non-professional cyclists, have now realised that actually using a pro road bike might not be the most comfortable for us or the fastest. And I wonder whether training might go in the same direction. So we're not full-time riders anymore. Perhaps we could be doing different training to get more out of ourselves than what we see the pros doing.
Yeah, well, on a personal note, I now ride maybe 5 to 9 hours per week because of commitments, work and family and stuff, and I'm still in reasonable shape. Like, not quite the same, but like, you know, it's a quarter of what I used to do, which is kind of nuts, isn't it?
You've got a tough job, Si, it has to be said. Right, well, we hope you've enjoyed this as much as we have today. Let us know your thoughts on what Professor Louis Passfield has said in the comments section just down below.
That's right. If you want any more myths tackled and busted, then we will put them to the genie, us, and hopefully he can tell us again at some point.
And actually, we have done a previous video with Louis Passfield, and you can find that just down here.